So this is a collection of my video work that's been produced over the last 4 years. Two of the pieces in this show are new. One piece is called Six Figures, and the second piece is Nest and Pyre. Those are the two that were made in 2012. And then the single channel projection behind me is a collection of various videos that I've made over the last 4 years. The collection of figures called Six Figures. I chose 6 historical images of women going back to 23,000 years ago, the Venus of Willendorf, and going through time up to Marilyn Monroe, photographed in the 1940s. I think it was 1949. And the reason that I started on this piece, some reading that I had been doing really brought home the idea that so many of the artists throughout history and still today, the artists themselves typically are men and the models are women. And just really questioning that, and why is that, and why is it historically that that's always been the case. So I started playing around with the idea of making myself the model, and what does that feel like, and of course it feels very different being the model than being the artist, let me tell you. And so the interesting to me discovery that I made when I was doing that piece was the fact that we hear so much today about body image and about Photoshop and about how there's been this unrealistic image of women's bodies portrayed. And so, surprisingly to me, as I started to go back and try and fit my body into these historical images of women, my body didn't fit them either. And so I started doing some research, and Umberto Eco wrote a beautiful book called The History of Beauty. And so as I'm reading it, basically learning about the fact that most of the classical images of women that we have, it wasn't one body, it was like 5 women that were compiled to create this image of perfection. So in the process of making that piece, I really ran up against all of my own internal judgments about my body, and it was a fascinating piece to do. So I've also used a lot of words in that piece. I actually sat down and flipped through the Oxford Canadian Dictionary looking for words that end in less, and that came out of thinking about the fact that women historically have always earned less than men. Certainly the models were earning a lot less than the artists themselves. So that was the meaning of those words being used in that piece. So the other work that was completed this year is Nest and Pyre, and basically it's 2 sculptures, and I've rebuilt 2 sculptures that I built 23 years ago, and this time I've added video to the sculptures, and that was, to me, that was a really neat evolution of a piece. I thought it was pretty cool to be able to go that far back and bring something that I had made that I loved many, many years ago, and bring it and make it excuse me, make it current. Adding the video to it fit really with where I'm at in my process at this point. So.